What is up? It is episode number 8 of the Omaha Dreams podcast, hosted by
Brendan Young, career 300 high school hitter, 0-star baseball recruit, and the all-time leader in Little League walks. Eyes like a hawk, but he's not built like one, Connor Heilman.
So today we're going to start off with some social media madness. Then we are going to move to weekend recap for week 5. We're going to have our top weekend performers, move to top 25 movement. Then we're going to do a midweek preview for week 6. And then our very last conference previews. We got 3 today. We're finally done.
Who we got today? We got
Sunbelt, the WAC, and the WIC.
The West Coast Conference.
Yep, the WIC. So,
there's no I in that.
The WIC. I don't know. Yeah. All right, let's get into social media madness. What do we have, buddy?
All right, so I don't know how we missed this. Probably because these teams aren't, top tier. But so last Sunday, South Florida was playing Bradley, and the one South Florida player walked it off with a home run. Mm-hmm. And we posted this on our Instagram story, but he's coming into home plate. He tosses his helmet. Everybody's standing around home plate, jumping up and down, ready to beat up on him. Yep. And he eats it. He just falls right before home plate.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
That's a tough look.
I can't imagine how embarrassing that was.
Oh, man. I wonder what the score was. Like, what if he just totally missed the plate and they were like, yeah, that doesn't count.
We got to go to another. The final score was 8-7 South Florida. So.
Okay, well, he must have hit the plate when he fell out. He probably face planted right into it. All right, well, that's what we have for this week of social media madness. Not too much madness this week, but maybe we'll get something cool for the next episode. Maybe hopefully. A little midweek madness. So we'll see. Midweek madness. During March Madness. Yeah. Crazy. All kinds of madness. All right, let's get to the weekend recap. We're going to start off with Wake Forest at 10, Georgia Tech at the time. We're going to do, as we always recap, we do the rankings for how they were last week. So I had Georgia Tech taking this one 2-1. What'd you have?
Yeah, I had the same thing. I had Georgia Tech.
Well, we were wrong. Wake Forest will take this series 2-1. Let's get into Friday. Wake Forest wins this game 5-3. I don't have much other than Rhett Lauder, the man I mentioned in the weekend preview. Lauder. He picked up his 5th win of the year, so shout out to him.
Yeah, the Demon Deacons, they jump out to an early lead with 3 runs in the top of the first. That's really about all I have.
Yeah, not too much. Yeah. But Saturday, Wake Forest dominates this game. They win this game 27-7, looking like a football score out there. Wake Forest had...
They missed a field goal.
Yeah. Wake Forest had 28 hits in this one. They scored a run in every inning except the first.
They put up 12 runs in the 5th inning.
Yeah, I want to note 3 hitters real quick. Nick Kurtz, 6 for 8, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs. Brock Wilkin, 3 for 6, a double, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs. Brendan Tinsman, 4 for 5, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. So those dudes they were just dominating.
Yeah, Nick Kurtz, he was my guy I mentioned to watch out for. Okay. So I'll get into his stats for the series a little later, but most of his stats came from that game, which it was an impressive weekend he put up, but that game was just nuts. 27 runs. Insane. That's like legitimate. Yeah, that's legitimately a football score.
Yeah. Sunday, Georgia Tech will win this one to avoid the sweep. They win it 14-5. They out-hit the Demon Deacons in this one 15-4.
Yeah. Their offense just didn't look as good as it normally does.
No, and I did mention, and I want to talk about this. I talked last episode. I said, I think if Wake Forest takes this series, they have to slow down Kevin Parada. Mm-hmm. And they did just that. They held him to 3 for 14, which is 214 average for the course of this series. I think no RBIs.
Yeah, I think I was like, there's no way they're going to stop him, but they actually did.
They did, yeah. They kept him in check.
You think that's going to keep happening for Georgia Tech? You think they'll? I mean, we're gonna talk about them later for the midweek, but
yeah, I think
they've. I want to say they play somebody decent this upcoming weekend. I'll check it out.
Okay, I think for Georgia Tech, the pitching needs to step up. You can't give up 27 runs one day. Like that's that's absurd to me. I think they'll figure it. I mean, this team can hit with the best of them. I mean, they get a huge win on Sunday.
Yeah, they needed that one.
Yeah.
They play Florida State next weekend.
That's going to be a big matchup.
Mm-hmm. So, oh, wait, no. I went too far. They play NC State. But still
a big matchup.
Not as big as NC State, but.
That's Florida State, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Appreciate it.
Of course. So, my hitter of the weekend was Nick Kurtz. I'll let you take his stats since you mentioned him.
Yeah, the Lancaster, PA product, hometown hero. He goes 8 for 16 on the weekend, 8 ribbies, 2 doubles, 3 walks at the leadoff. This is all at the leadoff spot, but I mean, he has an awesome weekend.
I do want to give a shout out to Georgia Tech's first baseman Andrew Jenkins. He went 6 for 12 with 2 base on balls, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs. He picked up some of the slack from Kevin Parada, but I think Kevin Parada is going to bounce back here. I mean, the dude's a stud.
Yeah, he's one of the best catchers in the country.
Yeah, shout out to the Demon Deacons though for shutting them down. Mm-hmm. Anything else on this series?
No, that's all I got. We might as well just move into Miami at Clemson. Number 18, Clemson. Who'd you have?
I had Clemson taking this one 2-1.
Yeah, I had Clemson as well, but Miami goes on to win it 2-1.
Yep.
They win Friday night 11-4. They put up 2 runs in the first and the second, and then 4 runs in the fourth. I feel like the storyline of this game is Carson Palmquist. He looks great again in this one.
Yeah.
He goes 6 1/3, allows 0 runs, and strikes out 11. So
yeah, that's a career high for him. He's sitting at 4-1 this season. Dude's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, Miami's going to win this one as well, 4-1. Miami out hit Clemson 9-4. Clemson leaves 9 on base in this one. I do want to give a shout out to Miami's relief pitcher, Andrew Walter. He goes 2 innings pitched, gives up no base runners with 4 Ks to earn his 4th save of the season.
Yeah, my previewed player for Miami was Carson Ligon, who pitched this game.
Okay.
He goes 5 1/3, gives up 3 hits, and gives up 0 runs. So,
nice.
I mean, I was pulling for Clemson, but he was a player I chose for Miami. Sorry.
Yeah. Sunday, Clemson dominates this one 20-5. This game wasn't close. It was 12-5 going in the bottom of the 8th.
There's some throughout this whole weekend, there have been some
crazy scores put up. The Tigers add 8 more runs in the bottom of the 8th. They out hit the Hurricanes 20-7 in this one.
They hit 5 homers in this game, which account for 16 of their runs. So
yeah, so 3 guys I mentioned real quick. Benjamin Blackwell, 4 for 6, 1 home run, 5 RBIs. Tyler Corbett, 2 for 6, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. And then Max Wagner, 3 for 5, 1 walk, 1 home run, and 4 RBIs.
You think this is a jumpstart weekend for Miami? They have UNC next weekend, so
yeah, I think Miami looked good except for that last game. I don't know. I'm assuming they have a midweek game this week. I don't know who it's against.
I'll check it out.
But I think if they can rebound in the midweek game or game or 2, whatever it may be, get a little bit more steam rolling for that UNC matchup, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, plus I feel like UNC they weren't as hot as they were in the beginning of the year. So I think they might be a little vulnerable for Miami to pick off a few wins.
Yeah.
They play Florida Atlantic during the week on Wednesday. So
okay. I think that's a winnable game.
Mm-hmm.
My player to watch who I had was CJ Kaifus. He actually ended up having a good weekend, went 5 for 12, which is a 417 average. He had 2 base on balls and he scored 3 runs. He had no RBIs, but he was getting on base and getting in. So
getting it in.
Yeah, shout out to him.
I just had Carson Ligon, who I talked about earlier. So
nice. Next, we have 23 Mississippi State at 20 Georgia. I took the Bulldogs, the Georgia Bulldogs, 2-1.
I took the Bulldogs the Georgia Bulldogs as well.
Georgia ends up taking this 2 out of 3.
They looked impressive in this series.
Yeah, they did. Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Friday, Georgia wins this one 11-0. Story of the day is Georgia's pitching staff.
Yeah, Jonathan Cannon, who we've talked about before on the pod.
I mentioned him as my pitcher to watch.
He goes 8 innings, allows only 3 hits, strikes out 9, and doesn't walk anybody. So
yeah, he gets the dub here. 4-1 on the season, and then Nolan Crisp would finish it off, finishing out the last inning. So shout out to him. Saturday, this game was interesting. Georgia wins this one 12-11. Mississippi State would be up 6-4 going into the bottom of the 6th. Georgia would then score 6 runs to take a 10-6 lead. Mississippi State would then tie it up on a grand slam from your boy, RJ Yeager.
Yeah.
Georgia would then
Jaeger bomb.
Yeah. I love it. Georgia would then jump out to a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th by a homer from my boy Corey Collins. Mississippi State would tie again through from a homer from Brad Cumbest, I think. Cumbest. From Brad Cumbest. Georgia would walk it off though with a single to center from Cole Tate to score Chaney Rogers. So
yep,
this game was intense.
Yeah, there's 5 lead changes that all come within the last 4 innings of this one. So
yeah. Sunday, Mississippi State dominates this game 20-3. Another football score we got here. Mississippi State would lead
another
this
missed
game.
Field goal too.
Yeah, 6-3, which is also a football score before getting a huge 8-run 6th inning that included 2 home runs, one of which being a grand salami from Hunter Hines. They would also get a big 5th-run 8 to put the nail in the coffin, take one of the games out of this series. Mississippi State out-hit Georgia in this one 18-8. That's all I have.
Yeah, I don't care enough about Mississippi State to talk too much about that game. Like, Georgia, they won the series. They're probably like, whatever, have this one.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but Mississippi State scores 20 runs in this. They can't. I mean, if it was closer, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
but they were probably throwing out bummy guys. Like, they were probably throwing out freshmen who haven't touched the mound all year.
Yeah, I don't know. It was still a dominating win by Mississippi State, 20-3. But
yeah, whatever. I don't like them.
Yeah,
they get too much love.
Next, we got 6 Notre Dame at Louisville. I had the Fighting Irish here, 2 games out of 3. What did you have?
I had Louisville sweep, which is what they do.
Did you actually have the sweep?
Yes. You don't remember that?
No, I thought you had Louisville 2 out of 3.
No. Remember I predicted a sweep for Louisville?
Someone checked the tape. I think you're lying. All right, well, let's get into it. Friday.
I feel like that counts as 2 wins on my line this week.
Friday, Louisville wins this one 16-11. 8 Louisville hitters would get at least 1 RBI in this, and Louisville had 14 hits and 10 base on balls, which is insane.
Mm-hmm. They also have 5 doubles on the game, which is also pretty impressive, which I think carries them to that victory.
Mm-hmm. Saturday, Louisville wins this one 8-1. This one was 1-1 going into the bottom of the 7th, but the Cardinals would string together 8 runs that the Fighting Irish just could not overcome.
Yeah, this game looks a lot closer than the score would indicate. Because of that, scoring 7 runs in the top of the 8th.
Yeah.
And 4 of those runs come off a grand slam from Benny Bianco.
Yeah. I do want to give a shout out to Louisville's starting pitcher, Jared Poland. He would go 7 innings pitched, allowing 0 earned on 3 hits, 1 walk with 10 Ks.
Mm-hmm. Evan Webster, he throws the final inning in 2/3. He allows 1 hit and collects the W.
Yeah. Sunday, Louisville wins this one 7-5. Louisville would lead this one 4-2 going into the 7th. The Fighting Irish would get 3 runs in the top of the 7th to take a 5-4 lead. The Cardinals would get a 3-run home run from Isaac Humphrey to get the tying and go-ahead runs in the bottom of the 8th, though.
Mm. Then Michael Persecki, he collects his 6th save of the season, which ties him at 4th place in the save leaders for the NCAA. So he's been very dominant this year.
I want to give a shout out to my player of watch, Louisville's Cameron Masterson. He would go 4 for 10 with 5 walks with 1 home run and 1 RBI. So not super great in the RBI department, but 5 walks is insane, especially against this Notre Dame pitching staff who we were, at least I was hyping up.
Yeah, I was too. They're definitely very good.
Yeah. But they didn't look great against these Louisville bats.
They've been ridiculously hot so far this year.
Yeah. Next game we got is 21 TCU at Baylor. I took the Horned Frogs here 2-1. What'd you have?
I had Baylor.
Well, the Horned Frogs take it 2-1. Yeah. Friday, TCU wins this game 3-0. The Horned Frogs pitching staff was absolutely dominant.
My pitcher of note, Riley Cornelio.
Mm-hmm.
He goes 8 in this one. Only gives up 2 hits. You can't really win a game with only 2 hits.
Nope. And then River Ridings, who I mentioned, would come in to save this game, would be his 5th of the year. TCU only allows 3 men on base this whole game. Mm-hmm. They had the 2 hits from your guy, and he also let up 1 walk, which was the only base runners of the game. So Saturday, TCU wins 11-9 and 11. So Baylor would lead this one 8-5 going into the top of the 9th.
They just implode at the end of the game.
Yeah. TCU would get 3 runs in the top of the 9th to tie it and send it to extras. 2 of these runs came by a walk and a hit batter.
Yeah, 4 walks and a hit by pitch come in the top of the 9th for TCU to tie the game. So
yeah, not great.
And then it snowballs even more.
Yeah, fast forward to the top of the 11th where the Horned Frogs would get 3 more runs. 1 run came from another walk home, and the other 2 come from an error.
Yeah.
The Bears would score 1 in the bottom of the 9th, but it would not be enough to overcome.
It's kind of impressive for a team to lose like that who has some significant wins already this year.
Yeah. Baylor out-hit the Frogs in this one 17-10. They left 14 on base. My boy River Ridings, though, gets another save, 6th of the season. Sunday, Baylor wins this one 7-3. Baylor out-hits TCU in this one as well. They had 14 hits to TCU's 7. My 2 guys of note here, I want to give a shout out, even though Baylor didn't have a great weekend, this guy did. Trey Richardson, he went 8 for 16 with 2 RBIs.
Yeah, I noted him for Baylor, but he didn't do it. Like, I didn't feel like talking about him just because they lost.
Yeah,
I felt like I didn't deserve to mention him after I picked him.
I mean, he had a 500 average. That's pretty dominant over the course of a weekend. So,
how'd you do on your picks? What was your record?
1 for 1, 2 for 1, 2 for 3. Not terrible. I lost the Wake Forest game, the Clemson game, and then
Notre Dame.
How'd you do?
I went 2 for 3 as well.
Okay.
But I feel like I should go 3 for 3 because I picked Louisville sweep.
I don't think so.
Or maybe like a 2.5 out of 3.
I'll give you that.
All right.
All right. How'd your honorable mentions go?
So I had Kentucky at number 3, Arkansas. I thought this was going to be a decent series. Arkansas sweeps Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Other series I had was West Virginia at Campbell. We're always rooting for the Camels.
Yep.
They win the series. They win the first game and then the rubber match on Sunday. I also had Utah at Oregon, which I thought was going to be a better series than it was. Oregon sweeps Utah. And again, another series that I thought was going to be better, South Carolina at 7, Tennessee. Tennessee sweeps South Carolina. So
okay. My honorable mentions were 1, Ole Miss at Auburn. Ole Miss takes 2 out of 3. But I did say the Tigers were going to steal one, and they did. They won it 19-5 on Saturday. My next game was NC State at 8, Florida State. Florida State would take the series 2 out of 3. Sunday's game went into 17 innings before Jamie Ferrer would homer to walk it off.
That's almost 2 whole games.
That's insane. Especially on a Sunday, because we've talked about the rule where like if it goes so long, they gotta like stop it.
Yeah.
So for them to go,
how'd that not happen there?
It must have been super early.
They must have been playing at like 9 a.m.
And then the last one I had was Louisiana Tech at UTSA, a little Conference USA matchup. Louisiana Tech would take 2 out of 3 here. So
sweet.
Let's move to the top weekend performers. Who you have 1 pitcher, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and take it.
My pitcher is Peyton Caliteri.
Okay.
I've never heard of this guy, but he's a pitcher for Tennessee Tech.
Okay.
He throws on Friday and goes 10 innings in a win against East Tennessee State.
That's insane.
Yeah. He goes 10, allows 5 hits, only 2 earned runs. And Tennessee Tech beats East Tennessee State 4-2. So
nice.
I mean, this dude went 10 innings. That's crazy.
That is insane.
That doesn't happen in baseball today.
No, not typically. So I have 2 guys as always. My first guy we've already talked about, Jonathan Cannon. I want to give a shout out to him again. He was dominant. My other guy was Maryland pitcher Jason Savakul. Went 7 innings pitched, allowing 0 earned runs, 1 hit, 3 walks, with 14 Ks to help his team get the win against Siena on Sunday.
Gabagoo.
Who's your hitters of note?
I have Brennan Malone.
Malone.
Yeah, he's a sophomore infielder for Oregon. This is his first year at Oregon after transferring from South Carolina.
Okay.
But he's a key factor in this Duck lineup while they sweep Utah.
Okay.
He's DHing. He goes 7 for 11 with 5 RBIs, 2 homers, a double, and 2 walks. So
nice.
He had a great weekend for the Oregon Ducks. And
nice.
then,
you want to go? You want to go too, and then I'll go.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I got Jake Galoff.
I think it's Galoff.
Yeah. Yeah. Sophomore infielder for Virginia. He also goes 7 for 11, 7 ribbies, 3 homers, a double, and 2 walks. Saturday, he goes 2 for 3 with 2 homers and 4 RBIs.
Mm-hmm.
And then he follows that up on Sunday by going 4 for 4 with a homer and 3 RBIs. So
nice.
And to put the cherry on top, he finishes the weekend leading the NCAA in homers. So
nice.
With 12.
I like it. My hitters, I got 2 smaller school teams, I guess you can say. My first guy is going to be center fielder Brendan Cumming for Princeton. 4 games against Towson. 4 games against Towson. Went 12 for 22. He had a .545 average with 2 walks, 3 home runs, and 13 RBIs. They had a doubleheader on Saturday. In the second game, he would go 5 for 6 with a walk, 2 home runs, and 9 RBIs. And then my other guy is shortstop Kevin Michaels for St. John's in 3 games against Sacred Heart.
St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's. He would go 12 for 14, which is an .857 average with 3 home runs and 13 RBIs. On Friday, he went 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. And Saturday, he went 5 for 5, hit for the cycle, and had 5 RBIs.
Monster weekend.
Yeah, I'd say so. Let's get to top 25 movement. Let's talk about the top 5 teams first. Ole Miss, 15-4. They stayed at number 1 this week. They went 2-2 last week, lost to Southeastern Louisiana on Tuesday. Then they took 2 out of 3 from Auburn. Texas, they're staying at number 2. They're 17-5. Went 4-1 last week. They had that loss to College of Charleston on Tuesday.
Roll Cougs.
Yeah. Then they beat the Citadel on Wednesday, and they swept Incarnate World, outscoring them 41-4 over the weekend.
Listen, I don't care how much they outscored Incarnate World by. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. 41 runs that's pretty impressive. Next, Arkansas, 16-3. They stayed at number 3. They went 5-0 this last weekend. They beat Grambling in a 2-game set and then swept Kentucky. Vanderbilt stayed at number 4. They're 17-2. Went 4-0 last week, beat Michigan on Tuesday, and then swept Missouri. And then Tennessee moves into the top 5. They were sitting at number 7. They're 19-1. They went 4-0 last week, beat Eastern Kentucky on Tuesday, and swept South Carolina.
That's what, 4 of 5 SEC schools?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
What? Yeah. It's insane.
The only team that isn't is Texas.
Yeah. So next, Virginia is the next team we're going to note here. They're at number 10. They jumped from 19. Huge jump. They're 19-1 on the season. 5-0 last week. Took 2 games against Rider and then swept BC.
Yeah, their only loss this year is coming on Sunday last week against Duke. So they've been pretty ridiculous so far this year.
Yeah.
Next team we got is Arizona. They jumped from number 16 to number 11. They've gone 6-1 since losing their series to Texas State 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. They won a series against Cal and Stanford during this stretch, so they're looking very good. Yep. And they're currently playing right now. They're going into the top of the 5th right now, and it's tied 1-1. So either way, they won that series against Stanford. Tonight just decides whether it was 2-1 or a sweep.
Yeah. Notre Dame drops to number 12 from 6. They're 12-4 in the season. They went 1-3 last week.
During St. Patrick's Day week.
Yeah.
The Fighting Irish were looking...
They were looking sad.
They were.
They went, like I said, 1-3 last week. They beat Valparaiso on Tuesday, but then they get swept by Louisville, so not great for them. Georgia Tech jumps a little bit. They moved back. They moved to 14 from 10. They went 2-2 this past week. They took 1 from Jackson State, then lost 2 of 3 to Wake Forest. Georgia moves to 17th from 20th. They're 16-4 in the season. Went 3-1 last week. Beat UCSC upstate on Tuesday, and then they took 2 out of 3 from Mississippi State.
Next, we got Louisville entering the top 25 for the first time this year. They jump in at number 18 after they sweep Notre Dame like I said they would, and they go 5-0 on the week.
Yeah.
Their current record is 16-4.
Yep.
Next team we got is LSU dropping from number 13 to number 21. They lose their series against Texas A&M this weekend. A rough couple weeks, I think, for the Tigers, but I think they'll be fine. They're sitting at 15-5 right now.
Yeah. Clemson would drop to number 24. They were sitting at 18. They went 1-3 this last week. They lost to Georgia State on Tuesday, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to Miami.
Rough week.
Yeah.
Uconn also is going to be another team that enters the top 25. They jump in at the last spot, and they had a great week.
You said they were a big week away from getting into the top 25.
Yeah, they go 3-1 on their cross-country road trip. They beat USC. They lost to Long Beach State, which, I mean, Long Beach State has been very good recently. Mm-hmm. And UConn also beats UC San Diego. They were 13-4 they were 14-3 as the rankings came out.
14-4, 14-3. You're right.
Yeah, and then they lost today, and the record's sitting at 14-4 currently.
Yep.
And then Stanford, who lost to Arizona, they drop out of the top 25 after starting the season pretty high.
Yeah.
I think they were at like number 5 or number.
I think they started really high. They were at number 12 last week when those rankings came out.
Yeah, I think at one point they were ranked like number 5 or number 6. So they've had a rough couple weeks and they had dropped out of the top 25. Mm-hmm. And then Mississippi State finally drops out of the top 25.
Yeah, they were sitting at number 23.
Yeah, after they lose their series to Georgia.
So let me ask you, who do you think should be number 1? Let's ask this question again. It's a hot topic, I think. There's a lot of different people out there who have different rankings. Who do you think should be number 1?
Last week I really thought Ole Miss. I thought it was a toss-up between Ole Miss and Arkansas. I thought either of those teams deserved those number 1 spot.
Yeah, I think I agreed with you last week too.
But I think as of this week now, I think Arkansas deserves the number 1 spot. At least the number 2 spot.
Yeah, I think you could make a case for Tennessee too. They're 19-1, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, this team has been dominant. They just move into the top 5, but they're looking good. Vanderbilt's 17-2 as well. I mean, I think if anything, this thing could completely swap, and I'd be happy with it.
Like Tennessee 1, Vandy 4, Arkansas 3, Texas 4, Ole Miss 5.
I would even go maybe Tennessee 1, Vandy 2, Arkansas staying at 3, Ole Miss 4, Texas 5.
Okay. That's what I was just about to ask you. Do you think Texas has had the worst start to the season out of those five teams?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think that Tennessee deserves to be over Texas after they lost them, though?
It's their only loss. I don't know. It's a good question. I think Tennessee has one loss in the season. There's a lot of baseball left to be played, but as of right now, I think they have a case to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. Who was your biggest winner this week?
I'm gonna go with Louisville.
Louisville?
Yeah, Louisville, who I feel like I obviously haven't been very high on them the whole season, but since we previewed that TCU matchup they had a few weeks ago, I've been like, why didn't we think about them in our ACC preview?
Yeah,
I think their pitching is not very good, but their offense is kind of ridiculous, almost like Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
they're definitely not going to be in the running to compete for a championship, I don't think, just because their pitching isn't good enough. But I think their offense is ridiculous.
I think they did enough this weekend to maybe say that they could compete for the ACC. They made Notre Dame kind of look silly.
Yeah, they did.
So since you took Louisville, I'm going to take Virginia. These guys are just flying up the rankings right now. They're number 10. If they have another good week, I could see them maybe moving into the top 5. So we'll see what happens. Who's your biggest loser?
I don't know. I'd have to say probably Clemson.
Okay.
Clemson, they started off the year so great. They were sitting at what, like 2 losses going in this weekend?
They had 1 loss.
Okay, yeah, 1 loss going in.
No. Yeah, 2 losses going into this weekend, 1 loss going into this past week.
Yeah, and then they're at home against Miami, against a conference rival, and they dropped 2.
Yeah. I think for me, my biggest loser has to be Stanford. You were hoping, I mean, they still maybe could take one today, but I think they haven't been stringing it together. They've been looking rough. They're 9-7, dude. They were like in the top 5 probably at the very beginning of the season, and now they were at number 12 before this past week, and they completely dropped out of the top 25. So
yeah, I mean they were in the College World Series last year, so that's a rough start after a good season last year.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our midweek preview for week 6. We're going to start on Tuesday. We have Wake Forest at 15 Liberty. Wake Forest is 16-4. Liberty is 14-4. They took 2 of 3 from North Florida. Both these teams are 3-3 in their last 6. What do you think?
So Liberty, both of these teams are obviously very good, as their record shows. I think Wake Forest is not getting enough love. Their resume before a few weeks ago, I don't think was very good, but they put up a good fight against Florida State last weekend or 2 weekends ago. And then they get the series win this week against Georgia Tech. I don't know who I want to pick. Okay.
I wasn't sure either.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take the Demon Deacons in this one.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be really close, though.
I feel like these midweek games a lot of times are dominated by who has the better pitchers, because, it's that weird spot where it's not any of your weekend guys. It's kind of who you just throw in there.
Yeah.
And I think Liberty's staff right now is better than Wake Forest, so I think I might go with Liberty.
Okay. All right. Let's move to Oregon at 23 Gonzaga. Oregon is 13-6. They just swept Utah. Gonzaga is 14-4. They just swept Pacific. I'm taking the Oregon Ducks here, baby.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ducks too.
Yeah.
I think Oregon has a better offense, obviously. I think Gonzaga's pitching is a little bit better. I don't think it's much better. I like Oregon a lot. I've been talking about them for a few weeks.
Yeah.
I think they've shown that they can get things done, and I think they'll be able to handle Gonzaga.
I think so too.
And, I don't know who they have this upcoming week. They have USC this upcoming weekend.
That'll be a good matchup.
Yeah, so like Uconn, I said last week, if they can, beat Gonzaga this week or in this week matchup and then win the series against USC, I think they could jump into the top 25 as well.
I agree with you. Next game is Louisiana Tech at 21 LSU. Louisiana Tech is 14-6. They just took 2 out of 3 from UTSA. LSU is 15-5. They just lost 2 of 3 to A&M. Who are you taking here?
LSU.
You're taking LSU?
Yeah, I know they just lost to A&M.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to upset LSU again.
No.
I think they just caught lightning in a bottle that one night at home.
Yeah.
I don't think they can beat LSU again.
I'm taking Louisiana Tech. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to win again. They won the first game 11-6. I don't know. I think LSU. Oh, wait, this game's postponed.
No way.
Yeah. So they are playing on Wednesday, it looks like. So either way.
They're playing.
They're playing. So they're just playing on Wednesday. So I still have them. I'm taking them on Wednesday.
It doesn't matter what day.
It doesn't matter what day they're taking it.
It doesn't matter what day, what time, what state.
The time's still the same. It's gonna be in Louisiana, but I'm taking Louisiana Tech. That's all that matters.
Well, both games will be in Louisiana.
All right, so then we're gonna preview 2 matchups that have 2 game sets. The first one we're gonna talk about is 14 Georgia Tech versus Kennesaw State. Tuesday is gonna be at Kennesaw. And then Wednesday is going to be at Georgia Tech. Kennesaw State is 12-6. They just swept Jacksonville. Georgia Tech is 15-5. They just lost 2 out of 3 against the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. What do you have?
I think that recency stuff has a lot to play into this.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Georgia Tech didn't look very great in their matchup this past weekend, and then Kennesaw is coming off a sweep of Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I still am going to take Georgia Tech
in both games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their offense, like we've said countless times, is ridiculous. I don't think they'll struggle with Kennesaw's pitching at all.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take the 1-1 split here. I'm going to take Kennesaw State at home and then Georgia Tech at home. So we'll see what happens.
All right.
Next game is UCF at 7 Florida State. UCF is 13-7. They just lost 2 out of 3 against UNC Greensboro. Florida State is 13-6. Just took 2 out of 3 from NC State. I'm taking the Seminoles in both games. I know UCF just beat Miami last week, but they didn't have a great performance this past weekend. So I think the Seminoles are going to take both these games.
I'm going to go with the split.
You're going with the split in this one?
I know it's like a coward's move, I feel like, but I don't know. I think UCF, after beating Miami, is huge, especially with the weekend that Miami had.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the split.
Okay. Wednesday, we have Lehigh at Penn, the PA battle. Lehigh is my Patriot winner. Penn is your Ivy League winner. Lehigh is 12-6 going into this. Penn will be 11-5. Both teams have won 6 straight. I think it's obvious who we're going to pick here.
Yeah, I'm going with Penn.
Yeah, I'm going with Lehigh. So, and then the last game we want to talk about is 3 Arkansas versus Omaha. I don't think it's going to be close, but this game is taking place in Kauffman Stadium. I think it will just be kind of a cool setting.
The home of the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's do it. Our last conference previews. I'm so excited to get this over with.
Yeah, what are we going to do once this is over with?
We'll have to figure something else out. I don't know. Sunbelt is where we're going to start. South Alabama won it last year. Who are you taking?
I'm going with Coastal this year.
Okay, I like that pick.
They have one of the top prospects in the conference in shortstop Eric Brown, who hit .294, hit 9 homers, and led the team in walks last year. That's some great numbers from a shortstop. And their 4 slated starters are all seniors.
Okay.
So they also brought in a bunch of transfers to round out the lineup. I think this team is filled with a bunch of experience that'll be one of their strengths.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take Georgia State here. I think they return a ton of starters as well. I think the pitching staff can be dominant if they piece it together. They got multiple guys that are touching anywhere from 90 to like 93. Offensively, I think this team has some dudes led by Will Mize. He's a sophomore third baseman. He's one of the top prospects in the Sun Belt for this year's upcoming draft for MLB player or for college players. Last year,
the draft for MLB players.
Yeah, that's only going to happen if they add some new teams.
Yeah.
Last year, through 54 games, hit 290 with 5 home runs and 25 RBIs. But I think he's going to have a much better season, and he's going to help lead this team to this conference. So let's move to the Yeah. Gonzaga won.
The West Coast Conference.
Yes. To be clear. Gonzaga won in the regular season last year. They didn't have a conference tournament, so they qualified for the automatic berth last year.
Yeah, last conference tournament winner was Loyola Marymount in 2019.
Yeah. I'm taking Gonzaga, and you want to know why?
Why?
Because it's March.
That's exactly why I didn't take them.
They also have 3 potential draft picks who I think are going to help this team be an absolute wagon. One of those dudes is going to be Gabriel Hughes. He's a sophomore pitcher. He's the #1 prospect for this conference in the 2022 MLB draft for college players. Last year, through 10 starts, went 4-3 with a 3.23 ERA, over 61.1 innings pitched with 67 Ks. So that's who I'm taking.
I'm going with BYU.
Okay.
Because I love Mormons.
Yeah.
And I love that whole multiple wives things that they have going on.
Yeah.
And I really like their stadium too.
Okay.
Yeah. And also I couldn't pick Gonzaga because they blow it every year for March Madness for me. So I was not going with them. They also have a double amount of pitching depth as well. One of their dudes that they have, I forget his name. He's 6'6" and hits like 98 on the gun. So
oh really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Next conference we have is the Western Athletic Conference, otherwise known as the WAC.
Yep.
2021 winner is the Grand Canyon Antelopes. I'm going to go with the Lope repeat.
I'm taking the Lopes as well.
Yeah, so last year they make their first regional appearance, and they're led by a sophomore shortstop, Jacob Wilson, who had a slash of 313, 376, and 440. And also has plus defense as well.
Yeah. I think the Lopes are going to take this. I think this is going to be a very competitive conference, but I think the Lopes are the best team.
Yeah. Plus, they're one of my final 3 teams. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I no matter what happens, like I always got support for the Lopes.
Yeah, I feel it. All right. Well, that is it. We're done with conference previews finally. And I think next episode we might be picking our favorite teams. I know my shirt came. We're just waiting for you. Yeah. So hopefully whoever's delivering your stuff picks up the slack. Man.
Hopefully. It could be coming from a long way.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? All right. Well, as always, follow us on Spotify. Give us that 5-star rating. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up.
Hit the bell for notifications.
And then follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Omaha Dreams Pod.
We'll also have a new intro the next episode. We were trying to figure things out, how to get it done, but we'll have a friend of ours, one of his songs as our intro. So we're excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, have a great week.
Watch some baseball.